Hi, welcome to a new episode of La Oficina de Juegos.
Today we are going to do the review of Earthenwar. Earthenwar is a two-player fantasy board game where you use a dice to magically move a golem. The objective of the game is to destroy the opponent golem.
So, Earthenwar was created by the Lazy Poets. Who are the Lazy Poets? Well, they are two guys, John and Peter. John has a long experience in design. He has already had a successful Kickstarter campaign with a game called Crystal Hall. So if you want to know more about John's work, you can go and check that game. And Peter, on the other hand, is a screenwriter, storyteller, so we guess he was more in charge of the history of the game, and John was more in charge of the design of the game, and that's why the game is so amazing. Earthenwar is a game for two players, that's why we have two golems. The recommended age is 10 plus, and the box says that each game will take you around 20 minutes, but the times that we have played, we have taken a little bit more, around 30 minutes, because you have to think a lot, because it's very strategic. So the game, it's a little bit more than 20 minutes.
About the design of this game, we like a lot that the game is eco-friendly. So all the pieces, all the components of the game are made in wood. And the creators made an effort to avoid plastic components. This game is in Kickstarter. It's important to mention that the game has two versions. The basic version only has wooden meeples, wooden golems, and the deluxe version comes with these two ceramic pieces. We love these ceramic pieces. The experience in the game, in the playthrough, is better because these miniatures are so cool. And we love that this game recruited global talent. For example, the cover art was made by a Colombian artist, Paul Amaya, and the ceramic pieces, the ceramic golems, were made by Jessica Calais-Sarrington, a Canadian sculptor.
So, what is Earthenwar about? Well, the objective of the game is, with your golem, to destroy your opponent's golem. How do you do this? Well, first of all, you have to put your golem in the selected square that the game tells you, and with dices and your magical control grid, you will move your golem around the table, attack your opponent, and finally destroy him. The dices, well, you have two types of dices. You have white ones and black ones. These dices only go from 1 to 3. And, well, they have different characteristics, of course. The white ones will make you move around the table, and the black ones will give you the attack range. Every time you hit your opponent's golem, he will take his control grid and he will cover the square where he got hit. He will do that with a damage token. When your opponent gets 3 damage tokens in a row, so for example horizontal, vertical or diagonal, then your opponent has lost the game and you have won. So as you can see, this game is very strategic because you have to position your dices very carefully, and also it has some component of randomness because it depends on how much do you get in your rolls, 1, 2 or 3. What else? Well, this is not the only scenario that you can play in this game. The manual also gives us different kind of scenarios. There are many scenarios that you can play, but for example, you can have one where your control grid is hidden. So your opponent cannot see what you are doing, where are you putting your dices, and he cannot imagine what kind of strategy you will play. Other type of scenario is these shell holes that you can put in the map, and what they will do is they will act like walls, you can say. So you cannot pass through them, you cannot walk through them, and your strategy also will need to be different. Another one that we think is really cool is you have little like meeple soldiers, one meeple soldier that will also affect your strategy because it will get included in the game and you need to think how to use that meeple soldier in your advantage. Also, one last thing that the manual says to you is that you can have a scenario generator. What is this? Well, as I mentioned, you have many scenarios, so what you can do is you roll the dice and taking the number that you get, let's say 1 and 3, you will check in the manual and it will give you a scenario combined all of the other scenarios. So for example, you can have one when your grid is hidden and you got the little soldier. So you will have to think of new strategies, you are blindfolded of the strategy of your opponent and you have that little soldier wandering around.
In our first game, the game was short because we didn't know how to plan our strategy, and we were learning about the movements and the combination of the dice. But in our next games, we thought more in our turns and about the movements and the attacks of the golem, and we thought more about the strategy to win. For example, yesterday I had analysis paralysis because I wanted to hit John's golem and I couldn't. So I thought how to hit his golem and with my dice and everything, but I couldn't.
So I win. An opportunity that we think this game has is actually to share this with more friends, so have more players. Why? Because we already love it, we think it has a lot of strategy, it has a lot of randomness, it has those cute golems, and we would love to share that with more friends. So for example, 3 or 4 players with that kind of strategy, thinking not only about your opponent but 2 other players, I think it will be crazy and will be also really good.
Finally, we want to point out 3 things about this game. First one, this game is really good for 2 players. It's one of our favorite games for 2 players. It's very competitive, has a lot of strategy, and we think these pieces are amazing.
Second one, the design of the game. Definitely we really like the design of the game, the wooden pieces, the 2 golems that are really like for collection. They are ceramic, they are really good, and all the design of the game, we think it's very well planned. The strategy, the randomness, like even this control grid has like different phases of the moon and different stars with signs. We think it's really cool.
And third one, the replayability. This game offers a lot of replayability because each game is different. Why? Because the dice gives you different numbers, and that different numbers gives you different movements and different attacks. So you need to plan different strategy to win the game. Also, this game has a scenario generator, and that gives you the possibility to combine shell holes, soldiers, and different situations in the game that create more strategies and gives you a lot of surprises in the game.
Well, that was all for our review for Earthenwar. I hope you like it. Remember to subscribe and follow us for the next review videos and for more information about Earthenwar. Bye!
Bye.